Yes.
Rick Smith, Howard Solomon,
Yes.
Congratulations to Vicki.
oh, yeah.
Sure. She's in our role.
Appointment of board treasurer. That the Board of Education appoint Andrea Gorla as the treasurer of the Board of Education. Motion?
So moved.
Fred Davis,
Roll call.
Fred Davis.
Yep.
Vicky Hernan Favor,
Yes.
Mary Hess,
Yes.
Carrie Millat,
Yes.
Victoria Newport,
Yes.
Rick Smith,
Yes.
Howard Solomon,
Yes. Okay.
Congratulations, Vicki. You're in. I have a stand-in.
Yeah, you know, the person who's absent gets
Gets
elected, right?
elected. All right.
Thanks, Melissa.
Presentations. AP Geography proposal, Dr. Vicki Tuscan, James Horn, and
Natasha too. Natasha.
I appreciate that, Judge. Thank you. Can everyone see that over there? or
No.
Okay, so what we have here is a new class that's being offered at the high school.
Thank you.
So this is a new class, and when you look at class offerings in advanced placement, this is among the newer and fastest growing classes that's happening nationwide, and essentially in the area as well. What we're going to do is kind of go through what the class looks like, and then we're going to be requesting to purchase some textbooks to support this class, and there's a couple of different routes we can go into purchasing, especially in light of one-to-one. So we're going to pass it over here to, this is going to be teaching the class to go over this general picture of the class.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Mr. Horn. I did not include a lot of very general information about the class because I did that once before the board kind of realized that there would be new board members starting today. Probably would have had a little bit more information. Actually, I brought it. Oh, perfect. Okay, so this is for AP Geography. A description of students and student population served by the instructional materials. When I say instructional materials, I guess I will spare you the suspense. I'm referring to textbooks. But as far as the class is concerned, I thought that was a really nice picture of our school coming in and everything. All students are invited to participate. There are no prerequisites. When I say all students, I mean all grade levels, 9 through 12, freshmen, all the way through seniors. As far as the freshmen are concerned, the way I'm looking at the class, for freshmen, this could be a gateway class. When I say a gateway, I mean a gateway class to more rigorous courses, to AP, advanced placement, or into honors. If anyone has any questions at any time, just let me know. I'll feel free to address questions. Yes, sir.
In a class in which you have multiple grade levels, just like this, is assessment given according to the general skills of the grade level? Are there multiple assessments?
No.
So you want to go for those who have 3 more years experience, in effect, not necessarily competing with grades, but in the same pool of grades as those without.
Yes.
So the grades are mastery based?
Yes. Okay. Well, standard space. What I mean is, everyone takes the same coursework because the AP exam is going to be one exam for everyone. Okay. So, but yes, and actually, in fact, competition is actually now. When I say competition, I think that that's a good thing in a class. For example, in my geography class today, I have. This is a little off the subject a little bit, but I have I've spurred a little bit of competition between a couple of people where we have a heavyweight champion. I made a belt, just like a wrestling belt or a boxing belt, and the belt passes around for each neighbor who answers questions the best as we go through our question and answer lecture activities throughout the day. So I'd like to see some competition in the class. Now, I don't mean don't, but I would like to see some people be really sharp holes in the class. So the direction. Oh, okay. Next one. The rationale for the class itself, as I'm going to present this to the students, is global competition. What I mean by that is this is not 1960, and students graduating from class aren't necessarily going to have a job waiting for them at the GE plant following graduation, because mom or dad has already set everything up for them to just come in. I told students in one of my classes that last year I participated in the interview team for a literacy teacher. We interviewed people over Skype in Spain, and we hired a teacher from Spain, and I use it as an example. Our students may very well be competing with people from all over the world, not just people in the classroom or the next town over. So there's a little bit of information here. As far as the freshmen are concerned, we like to use the term step up. Some people are ready to differentiate themselves, to step up to the next level, to take on that rigor, to take on that challenge. And as soon as we can get students in the moment of stepping up, we believe the better. So for freshmen, this class we believe as the gateway is an opportunity for students that are ready, just following ready, or just following the rigors of summer school, taking a semester over the course of 4 weeks, realize, you know what, I think I can handle this. I'm ready to give this a try. Members of the upper class looking for a chance to step up. Doesn't always happen for everyone at freshman year, at sophomore year. Some people it's junior year, some people it's their senior year when they realize, hey, this is my last chance to do something before I got here. I'm looking for an opportunity to step up now. For some different reasons, some are ready to earn college credit. Some may be looking to repair their GPA from damage from the past. I didn't do so well in certain classes, but with the 5-point weight, I have an opportunity to boost my GPA if I really get in and try hard. And some are just genuinely interested in the content. The one that I didn't put on here, I don't know if it's necessarily my favorite, but some people just want to be around me one more time. Okay. Some of you may recognize this is the logo of the College Board. So this is the process to identify and select group 0, referring to the textbook. College Board has, oh wait, that's my next step. Sometimes I get a little too good ahead of myself. I can decide to do that. In February of this year, I went to a College Board sponsored seminar for AP Geography, where one of the many topics happened to be textbook selection. There are only about 3 or 4 textbooks that are, I wouldn't say provided, but have been sanctioned or approved by College Boards to be used in the classes. And, well, actually, I'm going to take this out. I'm going to skip this one right here. This isn't something that we need to talk about for purchasing. We're talking about the notebook. So as we go to the notebook, here we are. Only a few books. The Rubenstein book is the most widely used textbook. And as we went through a discussion about this, a lot of teach texts and question, which book should we use? The 2 most popular are the Rubenstein book and the DeKalb book. Those are both the authors. The reason why, at least my understanding based on being at the seminar, was that the reason why the Rubenstein book is the most widely used is because it's written at a level that students prefer, as opposed to the DeKalb book, which seems to be written at a much higher level The students seem to do better with the Rubenstein book. Both books pretty much have the same information. My understanding is that one book had a few things that weren't in the other book that could easily be supplemented. The other book had a few things that weren't in the other book, but can also be easily supplemented. So overwhelmingly, people have been going with the book that students find the easiest to interact with. Yes.
Yeah, Todd, can I ask you, with the new C3 standards for social studies, right? Just like we do with Common Core state standards, we look at those standards and then look at our instructional materials and see the extent to which the instructional materials align to the standards.
Yeah, and that's something that, because when you go through a selection of materials, when you are, like, for example, in the algebra books,
Sure.
that we just adapted, there are thousands of books out there, and it's
Right.
just really when that process comes from. With an AP, we have less sale rate. It's really what is being sanctioned by the college board.
Okay.
The same goes with the syllabus. You have to submit a syllabus to the college board and get that. So the alignment is with the college board, which is rooted in hits those Common Core
Okay,
standards.
thank you.
Yes.
Is there any difference in the two textbooks, statistically on students who do and don't?
I'm sorry, that echo.
That's okay. So you're talking the difference between two books, and what I'm wondering is if there are any statistics to tell you which book gets the kids through the test better.
The Rubenstein book is the one where, like Mr. Shear was saying, the students are if the information is presented in such a way that it's more accessible for the students.
Okay.
All of these books are aligned to the AP test. The goal, obviously, of any AP course is to get students prepared for that AP exam. That's what's determined whether or not they get the credit for college. Because many of these classes, when you take the AP exam, you get like a 3 or 4. You can get college credit for that. Those books are picked by the college board, and they are designed for that. As far as the breakdown of statistics, we can look into that. I don't have that
I
information.
just wondered if the student comprehension,
Is
you
increased
said
in
anything-
Rubenstein versus
yeah.
the others, just because it's more acceptable doesn't mean that it's better results.
right,
This is great information. We can certainly look into that.
It's also very subjective. The person that was leading the seminar was a professor from Kansas State University. He liked the Black's book best himself, but he also told us that he uses that book in his own class. That's the book that he likes. In this case, we asked him all these very similar questions about, well, which book should we use? And he said, as a working college board, he can't tell you what book to use, but he did tell us that the Rubenstein book is the most widely used book, and it's the book that students tend to like the best. And with this being a student-centered class, I felt pretty good about that. And I've looked at the Rubenstein book myself. I thought it was a pretty easy read, given the difficulty of the information that we're asking students to grasp. I mean, I hope that carries on with them. But the Blythe book, he did say was written at a much higher level. It is, they're both college textbooks, but the Blythe book.
The information is just presented slightly different. The College Board's not going to permit a book that is not going to adequately prepare students for the AP test.
okay,
And at the end of the day, it's an instructor with some material, and what the instructor in this case, Mr. Shakir, is going to be doing, looking at the test, looking at those standards, looking at the materials, using the one-to-one technology that we have to supplement and really use the end goal here. That's really what we have with an AP exam, is we have an end goal. That's what we're shooting for, and making sure that the curriculum aligns. The textbook is just a piece of the puzzle. It's a very large piece of the puzzle, and you're going to see in the next slide or two, a very expensive piece of the puzzle. But it's a piece of the puzzle.
okay, all right, thanks, guys.
Does the college board offer any alternatives to textbook purchase at all via some semblance of online program which we could use as a one-to-one institution?
So bypassing the College Board's recommendation.
No, I'm asking whether there is a college board recommendation and why the college board is so stuck on the idea of textbooks.
Not that I'm aware of. You can certainly, it's just removing textbooks altogether.
Just removing textbooks altogether.
Yeah.
Using online resources.
Using online resources, no.
No.
Not if you want to be college board sanctioned. Certainly, if you could probably piece together something, but you would be out of compliance with the college board.
This is the cover of the book that we're proposing as our instructional material. Well, as far as this slide goes, really, I'll be honest with you, as a geographer, I just really like this picture of the Nile at night. But I want to show you what the book was that we were doing. This is kind of exciting. Okay, so the instructional, okay.
Yep. So I'll kind of get. Okay. All right. So we have a couple of different routes to go. We have the e-textbook. That is a book that is put directly onto a device. So for our freshmen and eventually down the line, all of our students, that book can be uploaded right onto their Chromebook. So if they're going to a basketball game, they're on a bus, they can be reading their textbook. So you don't need online access to have it. There are two different hard copies, two different textbooks that you can purchase. The old-fashioned standard way does not allow for digital access to the materials, just a textbook. The other is a textbook with a subscription that comes along with it, so that the student can have a textbook. The student can also be issued a code that gives them access to the online textbook. And the school would have access to both. You keep the textbooks, and the subscriptions come yearly. And the textbooks companies are very savvy. They're almost as quick as the cable company in these subscriptions. And that the subscriptions is really where they start to make their money. The e-textbook that I talked about earlier, that is sold on a yearly subscription basis. So while it's cheaper, you do have to purchase those on a yearly basis. The enhanced textbook, the textbook with the e-subscription, it would allow DeKalb High School access to that textbook, as well as the e-subscription for 6 years. So it's a year-long class. That means for 6 years that can be used. Yes.
Are the textbooks updated on a regular basis?
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. Sorry, while you were in closed session, I just take the conversation. So the prices are up there: $82.33 for the year. Hard copy is $129. That's without the subscription, and then excuse me, the 6 years is for $168. And I'm going to take a lemonade break real quick. So the numbers up there, which is actually something we're very excited about. Pardon the lack of formality here. We have a lot of kids that have signed up for this class. One thing that I want to just remind everybody of: geography is typically a class taken at the freshman level. It's a graduation requirement. The way we have this worked out, you can take geography. You can also take the AP Human Geo for graduation credit. And we have right now 15 students, freshman level students, coming in taking it, pushing themselves to take advanced placement classes. And actually, I just met with the counselor earlier. I think that extra spots will be filled. So I think we are up to 70. So it means 55 students are taking an elective class for advanced placement purposes. It's very exciting stuff to see happen here. So these are people students just generally interested in that this is the direction that we want to see things happen. We're giving a lot of opportunity to students. There is going to be a price tag with this when we go to look at how we want to purchase things. So we have a couple of different options. Option number one is a 70s textbooks plus 6 years, comes to $11,000. We could try just go bare bones, buy the text, we're going to have a mixed class, buy the textbooks we need for the upperclassmen that will not have the technology, buy the subscription for the students that do have the technology, and there's a savings to that. unless you start to look at it over a 6-year span of time. This is for one-to-one full implementation. This is a year subscription. We're going to use the numbers here that we're going to have 70 students sign up for it again next year. That's just a guess at this point. But there is a potential to have to go on if you want to do the one-to-one full implementation and give everybody that yearly subscription. It's going to have to be purchased annually, and it adds up very quickly. Also keep in mind that for classes such as AP Human Geo, you have to renew the textbooks every 10 years anyway to be in compliance with advanced placement. So the 6-year time frame, it's about right. Okay, so cost over a 6-year span, that option 1 is cheaper than option 2 by just over $25,000. With that, nuts and bolts, do we have questions over numbers, pricing?
What was the 6-year overall cost for textbooks in common form, just plain to sit there with those?
Textbooks in common form, so not to use the one-to-one, just to buy
textbooks.
Just to buy textbooks on the fly. I didn't actually have that because we wanted to be using the one-to-one. So textbooks would be $129 at 70.
We're doing it right now.
Okay.
Not a math teacher here, so. $83?
No, it's $129.
Oh, sorry. That's $9,100.
$9,100, but then that would be a one-time thing. It would be a one-time purchase. You would have textbooks. And those textbooks would be good for that 10-year cycle, whenever the book was copyrighted, all that good stuff. Flip side of that would be it wouldn't be compatible. You wouldn't have the technology piece to it. So in looking to move one-to-one, we wouldn't be able to have the e-subscription to it. So that would be a third option, which is have the straight textbooks for about $9,100.
So so the textbook is $9,100, and then can you flip to the end of the presentation so we see what the 6-year cost was?
So that textbook only would be the cheapest way to go. With that being though, that the true implementation of one-to-one wouldn't happen with just the textbooks. But the students would have a device, they would have a textbook.
This would just be separate.
It'd be separate. But the textbook itself would not be able to be loaded onto that.
So basically for $2,000 more, you get textbook,
You get
plus
the-
you get one
yes.
on the device so they can,
Right.
don't have to carry
And
home.
you have that for 6 years.
Okay,
And it's
thank you.
updated.
And it's updated.
And it's updated.
Is that a guaranteed price over 6 years, or potentially looking at?
It would be,
since the subscription
no, the
is-
subscription, when you purchase it, the subscription is for 6 years. You get the textbook and then you get 6 codes, and the code is what's entered onto the device that unlocks it, downloads it, whatever, I don't know, it's not technical terms, whatever it does to put it onto the device. And then that is, they update it all on their side, but you have those 6 little golden tickets that get you into the Wonka factory. From AT&T.
Any more questions from the board? Do we have a consensus to bring this back at the next meeting? Yes. For action.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Non-business consent agenda, that the Board of Education approve non-business consent items A through C. My motion? So moved. Second. Any discussion? Roll call, Vicky?
Victoria Newport,
Yes.
Rick Smith,
Yes.
Howard Solomon,
Yes.
Fred Davis,
Yes.
Vicky Hearn in favor,
Yes.
Mary Hess.
Yes.
Carrie Malat.
Yes.
Now I have a business and finance request for quote one-to-one devices. Cindy?
Acting as Andrew. This is in line with the one-to-one curriculum initiative that we approved a couple of meetings ago. And we are now looking at leasing the devices. So we have a request for quote currently out there for various leasing companies or banks to give us a quote on a 3-year or 4-year lease option to lease these devices. In your board packet, there was a copy of a CDW sales quotation that had 30 devices with cases as well. So this is what we would be quoting on, about $1.2 million in total. So the quote is out there. They're due back May 7th by the end of the day, and then we will analyze those. Brian will take a look at those as well and choose obviously the best deal that we can get. And it'll come back to the next board meeting for recommendation and approval.
Do I have a consent to bring it back? Yes. Thank you. Okay. Approval of award of paper and supplies bid. Cindy?
Yes. Every year we do go out to bid our copy paper and supplies, and this year it is Mid-City for supplies and for construction paper, and it's Office Works for copy paper. We had various bids, and we have to kind of look at them all. There's some companies that did everything, some that did just pieces of parts, so we had to analyze a lot of things to figure out who was the lowest responsible bidder, and those are the ones that came out the best. So.
Any questions? Yep, this is an action item, so that the Board of Education award the copy and color paper bid to Office Works and the construction paper and supplies bid to Mid-City for the 2015-2016 school year. Do I have a motion? So moved. Second. Vicky, roll call.
Rick Smith,
Yes.
Howard Solomon,
Yes.
Fred Davis,
Yes.
Vicky Hearn in favor,
Yes.
Mary Hess.
Yes.
Carrie Malat.
Yes.
Victoria Newport.
Yes. Approval of request to name the Malta Playground, and this is an action item, that the Board of Education approve naming the playground at Malta Elementary the Liz Elliott Memorial Playground in memory of Liz Elliott, a longtime active parent at Malta Elementary. Connor, would you like to?
Yes, I believe Dr. Roller included it in your board packet, the request that I submitted on behalf of the staff and the PTO. Mrs. Elliott was a consecutive member of our PTO for 16 years. She served every capacity on the committee and all 4 of the officer positions. After she suddenly passed away in January, the staff of the PTO wanted to do something in her honor and kind of started talking about what it was that she had brought to Malta. And the playground is what came to mind. In the old Malta building 10 years ago, the playground equipment was old McDonald land playground equipment that had been donated when Malta was still its own school district. It was outdated, it was dangerous, it was rusty, kids were getting hurt. Liz led the fundraising efforts, and for 3 years, lots of wrapping paper, lots of cookie dough, lots of market things was sold in order to buy that equipment. When we met with vendors, she could see into the future and was insistent that whatever we bought was something that could be moved if and when that building was ever shut down. So when the Board of Education decided that year to shut down the old building and move us to the current building, she was right there in my office making requests that we get that playground equipment moved. She met with Dr. Briscoe, superintendent at the time. She met with the facility operations director at the time, Don Biggs, and was just very adamant and persistent to make sure that playground equipment got moved. So we just felt that it was very fitting that in her honor that we named the playground after her. So that's what we requested.
Thank you, Patty. So do I have a motion to rename the Malta Playground?
So moved. Second.
Vicky?
Howard Solomon,
Yes.
Fred Davis,
Yes.
Vicky Hernan Favor,
Yes.
Mary Hess,
Yes.
Carrie Malat,
Yes.
Victoria Newport,
Yes.
Rick Smith.
Yes.
Thank you, the PTO will be working with facility and operations to come up with some sort of plan, so that we can have that posted and do that education when we go back to school night.
Thanks, Ken. Approval of board meeting dates, times for the remainder of the 2014-2015 school year. This is an action item that the Board of Education approve the board meeting dates, times for the remainder of the 2014-2015 school year. So moved. Second. Vicky? Roll call, please.
Fred Davis,
Yes.
Vicky Hernan Favor,
Yep.
Mary Hess,
Yes.
Carrie Malat,
Yes.
Victoria Newport,
Yes.
Rick Smith,
Yes.
Howard Solomon.
Yes.
And the next item is approval of the education meeting schedule for 2015-2016 school year. And this is also an action item that the Board of Education approve the board meeting schedule for the 2015-2016 school year as attached. So moved. Second.
Ready?
Oh, any discussion? Roll call, Vicky?
Vicky Hernan Favor,
Yes.
Mary Hess,
Yes.
Carrie Malat,
Yes.
Victoria Newport,
Yes.
Rick Smith,
Yes.
Howard Solomon,
Yes.
Fred Davis.
Yes.
And then do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Was there a second to that one? Who- You did?
All right. Here's adjourned.
Um,